I have to go back through and look and see. I keep meaning I can't post them on the forums because those are down until June 1 when they roll out the new website.
Just a quick introduction. My name is Nicole Espinoza-Roa, and I'm a recreation supervisor at HARD. I'm also D3, your D3 vice president, and I'm here today with your president, Matt Galindo, and we're going to talk just a little bit about, opening facilities back up. And I know we're kind of not quite there yet. It's still a little early, but this conversation is definitely good to have. So those of you that are opening up your facilities or looking to open up your facilities, has anybody opened their facilities yet or opened anything other than for like basic camp programming? No? Okay, anybody have an idea of when you're going to have to open some facilities? No? Okay.
I mean, I think if we kind of talked about this on the Contra Costa County Aquatic call this morning. You guys are in Contra Costa County, and if you haven't been on the ad hoc committees calls, the way they're sort of looking at stuff in for phase 3 is like we went into phase 2 officially last Monday. And so they're looking at a 14-day window. And then when that 14-day window closed, then they do a 14-day evaluation period. So like if you do the math, the reason I wanted to do this call was just because like that's June 22nd and that's around the corner. And then we kind of got our hands slapped a little bit yesterday because we did not have our senior center open as a cooling center because we're like, yeah, we didn't have PPEs. We didn't have like any of the stuff that we thought that was necessary to open. And then I thought in this meeting we could have like conversation talks about, because a couple things that are coming up for agencies is like some of us contract out our custodial services. Some are doing stuff in-house. Like, are you contracting out? If you're doing in-house, what are you doing in-house? Like, kind of if we could all kind of come together and start to, I don't know, at least lay out a little bit of a game plan of what individuals are thinking of. We have 3 community centers in Concord. We have Center Concord, Willow Pass, and Senior Center, and there's sort of a realization that all 3 of those supervisors are doing 3 very different things. I actually oversee aquatics and youth sports, but because aquatics is on the forefront of everything safety, they're like, hey, you should come up with guidelines. I'm like, sure. So I'm looking to like get as much from you guys as anything. Like, I mean, what you guys are doing, what our thoughts are, how you guys are looking at cleaning stuff, frequency you're cleaning stuff, are you using custodial services, like all of that good stuff. What you're going to require your staff to do, PPEs, I mean, just everything. I know what we're doing for the pool, but some of that's excessive for the community centers, but that's my pitch. So I'll let Nicole go back to hosting.
Thanks, Matt. So like you, I am in charge of our facilities. So I do all of our facility rentals, along with some other crazy stuff. But we have 13 community centers, so quite a lot. We also are lucky where we have in-house custodial staff. So that makes it a little nicer. However, our inside custodial staff usually cleans a facility before we open. So thus they wouldn't be there during the day. So when we do the facilities, we are then going to have staff take over whatever additional cleaning duties that are there. My I say old because they're currently not on staff, building attendant staff did do some of the cleaning after our rentals and stuff like this. So we do have some policies in place, but with the additional need for PPE and probably a little different, stronger chemical, there would be like some ground running and training there as far as staff goes. And by the way, I say staff, meaning probably our full-time staff will be doing some of this stuff until we get back up and running. So that's kind of what we're looking at once we open a facility. So there would be the need to retrain staff and to take a look at what exactly the county is requiring as far as how often we clean, and that stuff goes. But for now, our opening will be to camps. And I know, James, you said that you guys are looking to open on the 8th for camps. Do you have anything in motion right now for what you're going to do?
So right now, we're doing our camps with, I believe, and this is off the top, I believe 10 to 12 participants at a time. And then rather than using our just normal Camp Central format, we're spreading out through the 4 community centers in San Ramon. And which is working because we're not doing any private rentals right now, obviously. And the senior center, I imagine, is going to be the last thing to open up. But so yeah, all camps are going to be, minimized and spread out throughout the city.
So what do you use? Are you internal as far as custodial goes, or do you guys hire that out?
We do have, we have a contracted UBS to do the cleaning. It's kind of a similar setup as you had described. They do come in the off hours. So there's definitely a nice air gap in between the two. But as far as developing, a method for our part-time staff, or like you were saying, I imagine it's going to be the full-time staff for the first, couple weeks. That we're still in talks about our whole protocol for what we do after each program. But I know they're trying to minimize the changeover, the amount of people to kind of help circumvent, just covering the whole place with Lysol.
Yeah, like hose it all down when everybody leaves. We're good. Like we do in the locker rooms, right, Matt? Just hose everything off. Yeah, one of the things that I was reading about today was somebody talked about putting camp supplies in buckets for each child. And I'm like, there's a cool idea. That way the kids, because I don't know, mine are notorious for leaving things everywhere, but I thought that's great. That's one less area that you have to like focus on and clean. So I thought that was a cool idea. They put the kid's name on the bucket, and that's their bucket for however long camp is. Ours would roughly be about 2 weeks. Right. I think that's what it's going, between 2 and 4. So
yeah, Contra Costa is recommending 4 week, and it all depends on how people are trying to bend that. Our city attorney came back and was basically like, has to be 4 weeks unless there's some sort of amendment to the health order. So he's not willing to go against the 4 week recommendation. So that kind of screwed up some of our programming idea, but.
Gotcha. Anybody else have any other ways they do things? Is everybody on the call? Is everybody have outside cleaning, or do they do internal cleaning?
We have we have the same thing as San Ramon. We have UBS, which God help you if you've got UBS, but that's my own personal opinions of UBS. But the big issue we're sort of encountering is like, obviously like UBS, assuming they adhere to their contract, will do a deep cleaning each night. But we have to sort of come up with a strategy of the intermittent moments throughout the day of when we're continuing to do that. And so I'm kind of curious as to if anybody has plans for that. Like, I realize the current CDC and the county health order basically say frequently, but does anybody have any sense of what their frequency is going to be? Like, anyone anticipating hourly, 2 hours? Are you guys intending to close? Like, when camps rotate, are they rotating out and then you're doing a disinfection? Like, does anyone have any sort of timetable of what their frequency is going to be, I guess is my question.
I would say, Matt, depending on what you're doing too, as far as camps go, I know that our camp group can tear up a bathroom. So paper towel, just everything is a mess everywhere. and it's no different with my two at home. So I totally get it. But I think that is going to be, you know, you're going to have to increase that frequency based on, or we're going to have to teach really good bathroom etiquette at this point for camp this summer. Like when you use a paper towel, it goes in the bin. So I think that just like anything else, I know for us would be adjusting based on, you know, hopefully I have the clean kids at camp this summer, right? You know? So I think maybe, no, I'm not getting them. James is telling me no. So, you know, I think, I don't know, does anybody have any ideas? I would assume that it would have to be every like 2 or 3 hours, depending on how bad or how busy it is. What do you guys think? Anybody else have some great ideas? And I know tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, the equipment and some cleaning supplies. Because right now we've opened some stuff. We've opened some restrooms at parks. And so we have staff cleaning them multiple times a day. And so Chris is actually, or CJ is actually going to give us some insight to some of the products and stuff that they're using and that type of stuff tomorrow. So I'm trying to see here. So Kat, okay, so I'm going to go back up here. So the city of Orinda they're going to start opening, it looks like, on the 22nd. They're shooting for the June 22nd, pending on for the county to provide some additional direction. Daniel with Berkeley says they're going to open on the 15th. And then Kat says that the town of Danville has both internal and contracted custodial services. And of course, like all the rest of us, they've had some internal staff that were part-time, so they've been released. So they'll be relying on their current maintenance staff and contracted custodial. Stacy, their school district is responsible for one of their sites, and their staff will be wiping down after each rental. And then Lindsay with the city of Oakley, they have one full-time and one part-time staff for the city, police department, public works, buildings, and rec center. So they're similar where they clean at night. So it looks like we're kind of all in the same spot where we're going to have to figure out a plan to clean stuff. Hey, Matt, what does it say in regards to aquatic centers? Like what would be if you had to clean your restroom facilities?
I'm sorry, I got a call. Oh, could you repeat the question?
Sorry. I was just saying, as far as aquatic centers, what is it saying to clean the restrooms? What's the recommendation on that?
Frequently.
Okay. Good to know. I kind of feel like this whole thing is randomly, frequently, if.
I mean, I think a lot of people have creative ideas in terms of the aquatic side. I don't have this luxury. A couple other facilities do. Or for instance, they have both indoor and outdoor showers, so they are intending to close their indoor showers and only run the outdoor ones. Some of them are coming up with ways to try to, like, swim teams should arrive in their swimsuits and leave in their swimsuits, and they're not to use the bathrooms. That creates sort of a myriad of health issues. I know, like, City of El Cerrito is sending material out that bathrooms are for emergencies only. So the goal is, like, you come, do your thing, don't pee in the pool, don't pee in our toilets. And, but I mean, the guidelines as far as Contra Costa County at this point are frequent.
Okay.
And Pete DeQuincy, Peter Byers, and I had a couple weeks ago were on a call with one of the directors for environmental health for the CDC. And their whole thing was like, you could disinfect something and 5 seconds later, somebody comes, touches the area, and the work that you've done is just undone. So, I mean, my sense is I mean, if I had to put a something on it, I would be like, you should be disinfecting frequently on a routine basis, like hourly, every 2 hours, and making sure that you're documenting it, that you've got a piece of paper with a checklist that your staff member, and understand, like, I think we're getting hung up in like, it has to be the whole 9 yards. Whereas like you could, in like, for instance, a spray bottle, have the appropriate disinfectant in it and your staff can spray and wipe everything down. Like that's kind of what they're looking for, as opposed to like doing a full scrub of the toilet every time. But I mean, the way that I see we're doing it is we'll have a checklist and they're going to do it more than likely hourly and check off every time they're doing it. And it's a spray bottle and you go in and you spray it down and you wipe it down. But I mean, if you really want to get into the weeds of this stuff, I've read recommendations where they're like, everyone who gets done with the toilet should wipe down the toilet seat, like every single time. And you're just like, I mean, it's crazy. But I mean, my thought process is just that. And I kind of get a sense that's the direction a lot of aquatic people are going, is, you know, on a frequent basis, hourly, every other hour, and you're doing a checklist and you're walking around with a spray bottle and you're wiping stuff down. So,
You know, Matt, I think that that's good. A good concept is to document that we're actually cleaning, because then that takes, I laugh because in the world of aquatics, we document everything, right? And when I moved out of aquatics into other areas, everybody's like, why are we documenting everything? So I think that risk manager comes out, you know, in you, my poor other programs. But I do think that it's important that we write down for staff, or if we're doing it so we're consistent in what we clean, and also that we can just check it off, like, hey, this was done, initial, we're done, you know. And that way, if anything ever comes back to us, we can say, oh no, this is the type of disinfectant we were using, and this is how frequently it was done. So
well, because think about when you go into
idea.
like restaurants or you fast food restaurant or whatever. I mean, they have the cleaning schedule on the back of the door. Like theoretically, the last time the bathroom was cleaned, and it's initialed by whoever did it. And I think if we're looking at opening our facilities in any capacity, if you don't have that kind of game plan in mind, I mean, Lord only knows what's going to happen when the health inspectors come out. What they're going to anticipate from us, right? So it's like, I think the more that you have, the better. But I mean, that's my thought process.
Yeah, I mean, let's see.
How many of you guys, this has been a hotbed topic. How many of you guys, for any of your, even, so like our community centers, obviously we have normal rentals. We also have classes that go on there. It's looking like our day camps will be there this summer. But like we also have one of our community centers that has an office that specifically handles like registrations. We have another one that handles specifically preschool. So they have just routine day-to-day traffic that comes in. And I guess one of my questions, just because it has come up from our side, is like, do you guys have any intention of doing any of like the screening or the temperature processes for just the general traffic flow that may come into your building? Are you going to limit traffic flow? Like, are you going to let people come in the ways that they normally do? Like, what are some of you guys thinking about that?
I can tell you, I was just on a call with my customer service team. We meet out of one office, and we're putting up plexiglass between the public and us. So that that's one of the methods, with a slip on the bottom in case papers or something need to come through. The other thing that we did is we have like kids play areas and stuff, because we have one general customer service. So all of that stuff has gotten moved out. And we're going to literally put tape X's on the floor and a path, like, this is the way you come in, this is the way you exit, and with stars for where you should stand. And we talked about making a sign to go on stanchions that says, wait, basically wait your turn until you're called in. And so, you know, unfortunately, that's kind of the best method we have for, as far as our customer service office goes, to not only keep my customer service staff safe, but also allow for the public to come in and get help.
Are you going to require they have face coverings to come in too?
Yes, we are. You know, I think that's the standard. If you can wear a, you know, I jokingly say it's never been appropriate, but man, I can wear a face mask and head into a bank, you know? So I think that that's just the new norm as far as that's going to go, is we're all going to be in face masks. So Orinda has installed plexiglass at each front desk locations, and they're working on installing plexiglass in work areas that can't be separated by 6 feet. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're installing plexiglass at our front counters. I wanted the full like Bank of America bullet resistant 6-inch, but they wouldn't do that. Too much money.
You got some expensive taste there, Matt.
I just think of some of our patrons and get upset all you want. You're not coming through that 6-inch of you know, bullet resistant plexiglass.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen people like lower their heads and then go under it, which is kind of disturbing. But I know San Ramon, we are going to have checkpoints set up at every door to, you know, I mean, that's the plan. And we are getting sneeze aerosol guards at every front desk. But you know, when you're talking about like marking the distancing, it's something, you know, that I've seen, you know, going into Trader Joe's 1,000 times, and I just now thought that, you know, definitely should mention that so we get something to encourage people to keep their distance.
Yeah.
We're also looking at infrared thermometers too for everyone that walks through our doors. So I know we've ordered some. I don't know if they're going to be at every center. Hopefully they will be, but we're definitely looking to do anyone that walks in, public, camps, full-time staff, anyone.
Yeah, we for sure got those for campsites. Okay, so City of Oakley says that their city halls and rec center will be closed at least through July. Their registration front counter already has bullet resistance glass.
Oh,
Man,
dang.
so registration online will be online or by phone only, and anything else will be by appointment only. So the OSHA plan identifies that they're requiring face coverings, temp check, and health screenings for anyone who meets in person, as well as staff in camp, signage and social distancing markers at all entrances. Stacy from Emeryville says they're putting floor arrows and 6 feet signs. And Sheena from City of Orinda says, we anticipating limiting traffic flow once fall winter classes begin, but they haven't officially created their customer service protocols since they're not entirely sure if their fall program will be able to occur. But summer camps will only be participants allowed in the building through August. So are you guys also doing the thermometers for your participants for camps? I take that as probably yes, because I think we're all doing the participants. I know ours will be hard. My customer service office is in our district office, and it's a small building. And so I'm thinking that for us, it's important that we mark it down. I'll probably cut vinyl and mark it down the walkway that we have too, to just remind them about space. Because it's, I would say probably 10, 11, 12 feet maybe between the front door and where the door into our customer service office is. So we'll be doing some creative down the ramp. So the town of Danville, they've canceled all person programming through June. They're planning a few small camps going on in July. So here's another interesting one, just a concept to think about. Our community centers sit in the middle of parks, And so we'll be doing camps out of some of the community center, mostly in the park. And there's just a need to control the restrooms inside a building. So I'm thinking that when we have the participants inside, we'll have to do something, because people from the park will just naturally want to come in and use the restrooms that we have going for camp. So there's going to have to be some creative education with the rest of the public. Does anybody have any situations similar to that? Any great idea?
No, I hadn't thought of that, but we have the same problem.
Yeah.
Like, and I kind of joke, I mean, you know, Concord demographically we're sort of the middle of the road group. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we definitely have those people who are like, I don't care that you've got day camps in the building, I'm using your bathroom. So that's going to be challenging.
Yeah. Lindsay from the city of Oakley was saying that they're keeping their doors locked and giving camp groups a remote doorbell that lets the office know to unlock the door. So their issue is the same thing, Matt, because they have a trail, a park, and a fitness court on site. So they worry about the same thing. I like that doorbell idea. How annoyed are we going to be with the staff's going to be like, yep. But I love that idea. It's a great idea to control, you know. It's almost like, too bad you couldn't give like a password and the door opened, right? Give it to our parents. With you guys, with that too, that brings up another question. Are you guys doing pickup outside of the facilities? Or I know the city of Pleasanton is doing, they're doing a drive-by where people they drive up and they give them their child right in the car. So there's no additional, it's like drive up and pick up your food, you know, drive up and here you go, have a good day. It's like valet. So I don't know if anybody else is thinking of doing something like that, or if, you know, because then that again limits your people inside your facility.
Well, and I think that was one of the reasons we were considering it was sort of a workaround of some of the procedures that you have if you're collecting people's temperatures, like the ways in which that has to be done. So the idea was like, for us, it was like, if you're doing it to somebody who's in a car, you're still maintaining a certain level of their privacy. If one, when you're collecting their info, which you're required to do, and then two, if for some reason you're disqualifying them from participating in the camp or your facility, that can be done in such a way that it's not like you're doing it out in the public where everyone can see it.
Yeah.
So I mean we're considering that from that logical standpoint of just like, if it's in your car, it's still, we're maintaining all those privacy stuff.
Yeah. I know as a part of we're learning today from ePact that you can put the temperature when you check the kids in, you can actually put that into the ePact system. And you also can do a sign in and out, like a contactless sign in and out for the kids for camp. So that's one of the things we were looking at too. If anybody uses ePact, they're moving to get some stuff done to be able to help with camps and stuff as far as COVID stuff goes. And Arinda is talking about selecting different drop-off locations for each camp. They're working on logistics of pickup and drop-off.
So I'm assuming nobody at this point has any thought process of doing any sort of private rentals of their facilities. And I'm not even talking like big groups. I'm talking about the potential for like small family gatherings where everyone's in the same. Has anyone thought about that? Had any considerations of that? Or just, we're not doing facility rentals till we hit like phase 4?
Yeah, we're not going till 4. I don't know about anybody else.
we're trying to come up with some creative budget ideas too, because I'm sure, like the rest of you, we have some interesting budgeting challenges.
Yeah. I know, and most of my staff was, somebody jokingly said, well, what are you going to do about facility rentals? And my joke was, looks like full-time staff is now becoming building attendants, you know, run camp through the week and run some facilities on the weekends. But yeah, Matt, I think, you know, both Emeryville and the city of Renda, neither one are doing, it's been talked about, but nothing's been confirmed. But, you know, I think the limit of people in there, and I think the risk of an indoor facility versus an outdoor facility with a larger group of people, I think your risk is just higher. So we're, I think, gonna wait a while.
Good times.
I know. So Emeryville says it'll be phase 3 most likely for them.
Do you have, hey Stacy, do you have any sense of in phase 3 then? You know if they're gonna put like a cap on the number of people? Like that's one of the questions we're sort of playing around with, is like, what happens if they do like phase 3, but they say it's a gathering of only 50 people?
So we've talked about that being just smaller rentals. Our biggest issue is the bigger ones. So those are like 250 or more. You hear me?
Right.
Okay. Like we have a church group. So that was our other big issue that we've been kind of a hot button topic we've been talking about, is now that churches have gotten the okays to go back, because we rent to churches, does that mean that I have to open my facility to this church rental? We discussed this morning that we're still a rec facility. It's still our facility. It's still a city facility. So I dictate, kind of like the pool. USA Swimming can come out with whatever they want, but I'm still the one dictating when we open our pool. So on that kind of thing, as long as we've gotten the kind of okay to open rec centers, and if they give us a guideline of 50 or more, or 25 or less, or whatever it is, we'll just kind of adjust to that with our rentals. So we'll be maybe like small birthday parties that have to stay 6 feet apart. You know, like we only give them so many chairs. If they know, hey, you're renting from us, you get 25 chairs, that's all you're getting. We'll pull the chairs out of there and just give them what they have. I'm sure waivers will come at some point about, hey, we may or may not be able to keep you safe. Like that, this is going to be on you. If you decide all of a sudden you throw in 300 people, I mean, we'll shut you down. So, and then they'll have to clean everything also. It will be our big one. Does that answer your question? Kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all kind of lost at this point.
Yeah. Or would you, just out of curiosity, do you think you would check their temperatures as they came in?
As a private rental, I don't even know if we can. I mean, they're so interesting. Our HR hasn't even said yes to doing our staff yet. So I don't even know where we fit any of that if I have a private rental, their temperatures. There's so many weird laws. I mean, we're all still trying to figure that part out.
And as soon as you figure it out today, it'll change tomorrow. So, you know, we're good.
100%. Everything's just changing as we speak.
Yeah. I feel like that. I feel when I respond to the public for a question, it's instantly like, no, that was yesterday's rules. Now we're on to a new one. Or if I say something on Friday and it changes on Monday, they rip me on Monday for not, you know, seeing into the future to provide better customer service.
Well, also when new counties come out with different guidelines, they're like, hey, how come you're not doing that? And you're like, I'm still inside. I don't even know what you're talking about. I haven't left my house. I don't know what you're even discussing at this point. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we get the same thing out in Contra Costa. And then it's like, they call us because they're like, we have some sort of magical control over the county. Like I've got some red hotline to the health director. I gotta do the same stuff you do, guys. They don't listen to me at all, so.
Oh, Lindsay shared something that's really unique. She said that she's heard the idea of a waiver requiring the renter to provide guest list for contact tracing purposes. Right? Danville just started the thinking process. They're working on setting up a general framework of what the guidelines would be and new capacity based on the 6 foot. And they talked about amending their application for additional requirements for facility rentals. I wonder what the release would be for, you know, like, we have no control over if you get COVID-19 and you're at a facility rental at our place. But I mean, I guess that would be the waiver where we go back to where we say up to and including death. I'm glad you're laughing, Matt.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, this call has been super helpful, but everything always like circles back to this, and the same thing's happening in aquatics. And I've been on Sanker calls about sports. I mean, there's a level where it's like this, it has to be personal responsibility, guys. Like, if you're going to have your community center and we're going to let you have 50 people, you got to have 50 people. If we tell you you got to have 6 feet, you guys got to have 6 feet. If you're not going to do 6 feet and you get sick, that's not on us. Like, you know, I've heard, and I really wish I could remember the agency, somebody's waiver for, I don't know if it's swim lessons or camp, is up to 1.5 pages. And that's not like photo waiver or dismissal waiver. That's just in COVID-19 to participate in camp. It's up to like 1.5 pages. And I want to see it because I'm like, what the heck is in there? Like, and my city attorney is the same way. You know, I don't know. Sorry, that's my rant. But
Yeah, well, common sense isn't always so common, Matt, is what Stacy shared with us. And then also the city attorneys in Contra Costa County have discussed the concerns, and each city attorney will determine what permits waivers will include regarding COVID-19. So, you know.
yeah, but I think it's important that like, yeah, but we're not a part of the EMPA. Concord broke out from that. But anyway, I think it's great the city attorneys are having that conversation, but I mean, my city attorney is a pit bull. Don't get me wrong. I would never want to be on the opposite side of the table of that guy. But, you know, like when we redid our waivers last time, we were like, well, what about the ruling that happened in Santa Barbara in 2004-05? And he just kind of looked at us blankly, like, what are you talking about? And it's like, you know, they're designing a waiver and they don't even fully kind of understand sometimes the rulings that come out. So, like, you still got to have your input with your city attorney, man. They often see this stuff differently than we do.
Yeah.
Hey, Lindsay, would you be willing to share the MPA stuff? Because Concord's not a part of the MPA anymore. We're part of a different JPA, so I don't get to see that stuff unless I ask for it.
So Lindsay shared, you know, that there's a waiver that the leagues renting the fields for camps must have their participants sign. And Stacy says that they'll be using it also. But Matt really wants a copy.
Cool club.
Yeah, if you could share the waiver, we would love it.
That opened up a can of worms.
I know, right? Well, it's case law, right? Copy and steal everything.
Totally.
That's how it works in recreation. Right? I learned that a long time ago. And when I did a slide and the OSHA would come and from Matt, if she sends it to you, can we send it to the group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So one of the things that we learned from OSHA was one organization would change something on the slide ruling, and then as they went to the next place, it would all be changed because we all pick up the phone and call each other and say, hey, this is what's coming your way. So they learned pretty quick that we had a pretty tight group. So they couldn't bill us for extra hours for coming up for additional language on those slide documents. So apparently private slide or amusement parks that did slides weren't as quick as the rest of us over here in recreation.
Oh, they never are.
Yeah, well, you know, we're on our game because we all know we have no money in our budget, so we don't need to pay them extra hours. So we figure it out real fast. What else is there? So, you know, when we talk about cleaning, like the facility and stuff, it also, we look at like hand, you know, like when you grab the doors and stuff like this, and it only brings it up because at my husband's job, they cut them, they have the printers. And so they cut him out little things where he can grab the door handle with it and not have to use his hands. So there's less touching of stuff. Has anybody thought about that? I mean, maybe we leave the bathroom doors open so there's not extra grabbing the hand when they go to the bathroom. I don't know. If you can leave the bathroom doors open, if your facility has that capability. I don't know. If you can leave doors open to programs, just food for thought. One less thing that somebody touches and you have to clean all the time.
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
Don't be gross.
You know, Matt, I washed my hands, but I'd like to introduce you to some kids that, you know, lunch was good. And I can tell you what some kids had for lunch because it's all over the window at the facility.
Are we talking about your kids?
No. When they were little, probably. The older one has outgrown it. I don't know about the younger one. Any other ideas or any high traffic areas that you guys are seeing that you think we might all want to put on our radar?
Is anyone doing the hand sanitizer? Is anyone offering hand sanitizer up front at their counters? So one of the recommendations of Contra Costa County was hand sanitizers as well as like accessibility to bathrooms to wash hands. Is anyone doing the hand sanitizer? Okay.
We're going to have hand sanitizers at the front counters and in every single room we have as well. So they're going to be spread out everywhere throughout the community centers, aquatic centers, everything.
We've talked about having them at every door and then every desk as well when you either enter or when you go. And you're apparently cool before it was cool because we've had hand sanitizer on our pool desk for years. So that's what our plan is.
So the city of Orinda, yes. Daniel from Berkeley, yes. The city of Martinez, yes. City of Orinda, they have them installed everywhere. And Stacy, yes.
How about signage? I know Contra Costa County, and I have what they want on it, but I'm curious if anyone has found sort of if somebody's mass producing the sign or if anyone has a sign company they're using. They have the verbiage that they want on the signs. I think it's like 4 points that they want you to include on the signs for the entrances of your door. Has anyone done that yet? Or does anyone have a sign person? Or has anyone found somebody producing the signs?
Matt, there was a sign posting that they did on one of the lifeguard sites. I'll see if I can pull it up for you. That someone actually made the sign that's got all the information, and he actually sent out the file of it, so you could use that as well. Let me see if I can find it.
Sweet. Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, if you could find that and get that to Matt, I will make sure I have a list of everybody who came, and we will share that with everybody.
And then I've really just one last question. How many of you guys are intending to bring part-time staff back? And I'm not saying that as one of our projected budget cuts is limiting the amount of limited service staff. So So how many of you guys are like anticipating having some sort of routine facility rec staff again?
I know we are, but it'll go ahead, Stacy.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that we, as long as we don't have anything that's directly paying for them, then we won't bring them back. So potentially at some point, as we start to reopen for like field rentals and those sorts of things, there's a potential we could bring them back if we can directly cover their cost. But for a while, it's just going to be full-time staff.
Do you have your part-times furloughed at the moment, or did you guys lay them off?
We did not lay them off, so they're just furloughed. So it'll be a lot easier to bring them back. But right now we don't have anything to schedule them for.
I would say we are not bringing our building staff back until at the earliest July 1, but they'll also depend on whether we reopen for facility rentals. If we don't open for facility rentals, then we won't be bringing them back until that starts happening.
Do you see San Ramon doing any sort of like modified rentals?
Well, I just got off the phone for some other stuff, and right now they're not allowing us to do any rentals. Even when we get phone calls, everything is just a tentative book or hold on the date. We're not even processing any paperwork right now. And I have a feeling that we probably won't let any facility rentals come in till probably August, if not later. I mean, that's what it seems like right now. Sorry, I missed the beginning of the meeting. So are any of you guys opening for facility rentals anytime soon?
Most people, Jody, hi, by the way.
Hey, Coley!
Most people are, yeah, you're going to hear my great nicknames right as they come out. Most of everybody's on phase 4. Some are on phase 3. You know, so that's kind of where everybody is as far as facility rentals. I think we're all probably in the we don't know, right? All the rules change. We'll see what they tell us tomorrow we can do. So, but we did, there is some more comments here as far as most people, I think, Matt, in breezing through these, is the city of Oakley, their part-time staff came back from furlough today, but very different. They only have 2 full-time staff and 7 part-time staff. So the part-time or full-time staff had their hours cut, and part-time were furloughed from March 17th until today. So PT will be doing care for kids of city employees beginning next week. The town of Danville, they've exhausted their full-time staff. Or they have to exhaust all the full-time staff. Sorry, I read that wrong. Before they talk about bringing part-time staff back. And with the city of Orinda, all part-time staff are gone with the unspecified time, and full-time recreation staff are seeing cuts. So Berkeley's got some part-time staff working now and plan to bring more back in June 8th. We are probably going to, we may bring part-time staff back as far as like camp stuff goes, maybe next fiscal year, but we will be exhausting full-time staff. So those of us that are gone from supervising, I'll be supervising a summer camp this summer. I'll have a great tan.
You'll do like a live feed from us for it.
Oh
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. For our Zoom meetings, you'll just get me with the kids behind. Maybe we'll do like reenactment or a play from 6 feet apart in every direction.
And then I got, I just got a text from someone in my department wanting me to ask this question. So this is one, are any of you, in light of the current heat wave and obviously not having things like our aquatic centers open, number stuff, are any of your agencies being requested to be a cooling center? And Or do you see utilizing your community centers at any point in the future to be utilized as a cooling center as we start to hit these heat wave moments?
Yeah, I know in Brentwood we haven't opened for cooling centers yet, but we have started the conversation about what we need to put in place to be able to open next time it comes around. So I would anticipate that we'll have to at some point. I'm glad they didn't make us do it yesterday because, like everybody else, we don't have any, we have nothing in place, to keep staff and everyone who, when we open cooling centers, nobody shows up. So I think it would just be staff that's there, but we still need to be prepared just in case.
Neither does us. The problem, like for us, yesterday our PR manager put out a press clipping that our senior center was a cooling center without actually talking to the senior center. So it was a little bit of one of those like, what the, so we're sort of anticipating the next time we have to be ready. So.
Yeah, and between our community center and our senior center, that's normally where we would open, most of the time both. But our senior center, as of Monday, is a testing site now. So we won't be using that one as a cooling center.
Any other cities anticipating being a cooling center or having? Sweet.
We're getting prepared for that. We had like 5 or 6 phone calls from our seniors today asking if we were open for a cooling center. But like everybody else, it's just been us and the office, and so we are not prepared with the sanitation and the plan that we had previously for it was in normal operations. So we already hit the ground running today to try to figure it out, but I have a feeling that our higher ups are going to wait for direction from Contra Costa Health Services to see if they would even ask for us to do that. But we got several phone calls today from our participants, but a lot of people in Martinez have the old houses with no air conditioning, so and this wasn't even as hot as it can get, so we're definitely trying to be prepared for that. So I'm happy to pass along anything we come up with when we do.
Yes, please. Back to you, Nicole.
All right. Sorry. I was just making a quick list of everybody's name because this is not always the easiest to copy from when we Zoom. So does anybody else have any other questions or the city of so the city of Orinda also shared that there's probably supposed to be a cooling site, which we are probably supposed to be and should be open to, because we're in an area in Hayward where not a lot of people have AC. And so when it gets really hot, usually we use our splash pads and our pools and our centers. Although my center, I sit there and no one ever comes. So, which is, I guess, could be a good thing. So, there's that. We've been open to when the power's gone out. So, but yeah. So what are you thinking, Matt?
I'm good. I got questions answered that I wanted answered. So.
Okay. Well, see, that's good. So we've answered some questions. I know this is probably a topic that we'll probably host again as we get closer to the point where we're going to open community centers. So, I made a list of everybody here, and we'll kind of put that together and definitely do another one. I think kind of as we get a little bit closer to the point where we know we have to open, and that way we can all copy and steal and share ideas of kind of how we get prepared and ready to do this new normal thing that we call COVID-19 and rec programming. So does anybody have any other questions we can answer for you, or you know, or we can make up an answer at this point, because I think we're all doing that at this point. That's our, you know, I kind of feel like it's, I tell my kids I make up some answer when they ask a question, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm getting good at this. So, well, I know I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So thank you guys so much for being with us, for sharing information. This will be recorded, so we'll make sure we get it up somewhere. I'll work on that with you, Matt. And
new
then,
website.
Matt, you got a compliment too, by the way. Being a Concord resident, their family has no complaints. Did you see
Oh,
that comment?
thank you. That makes me feel good.
So there's your one positive feedback all year. That's all you're getting.
Well, like, so we got, I'll just share it with the group really quick. We got just this nasty email this morning because this is the way our residents think. They're angry because they're forced to let their dogs run free in our parks without leashes on because we don't have our dog parks open. So it's not our fault. It's our fault that their dogs are getting in trouble at our parks, not them for letting them run free. So it was amusing. So to get a compliment feels really good because we get a lot of those like, my dog attacked another dog because you locked your dog park. And you're like, well, no.
It's a good thing they didn't bring their dog to your dog park.
Oh, God. Yeah, like that's their only option is dog park or let them run free in the park and attack people. Like there's no in between. And you're just like, what am I? All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Nicole, can you
Yes.
hang out for a sec on the call?
Sure.
I just want to talk about John's email yesterday.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys all for attending. I've really valued you guys here today, and hopefully we've all shared some fun stuff. Please definitely reach out to Matt or I if you have any questions or we can help in any way. But thank you again so much for all of your guys' time.